Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And today's range report is on a really awesome and historical firearm. You guys can probably tell from what I'm wearing, it's really cold here in the garage. It's about 18 degrees outside as I'm filming this. So I kind of felt, if it's that cold, it's time to review a Russian firearm. And today I have a Russian-made SKS rifle. Yes, the Simonova carbine. Yeah, take a look at that. Chambered in 7.62 by 39. Beautiful firearm. All original, numbers matching, made in 1954. Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? What a piece of history. And before I get into the things that I like and don't like and get this thing to the range and show you all of that footage, as always, I want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this awesome rifle. He's a local subscriber and friend to the channel, and lending something like this makes him a really good friend of the channel. His name is Ken. Ken, thank you so much once again. I want to thank my Patreons as always, because through their monthly donation and support, they help keep the lights on around here. As you guys know, making content with awesome rifles like this makes me a YouTube bad boy. And not everything I make is monetizable, and they help me keep all this content coming. So thank you so much, Patreons. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor who always provides all of the ammunition for these range reports, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And if you're checking out this range report today on this awesome Russian SKS, I know you like firearms made of the classics steel and wood. Yeah, the way guns have been made for centuries. And you probably own a number of pistols that take wood panel grips. And you might even want to customize those fine firearms to your personal taste. Well, guess what? I have the perfect company for you. That company is Brownworks. Mark is the owner of Brownworks. He is a master craftsman. He is an artist. He can make a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. He can put on custom logos, custom engravings, and even custom textures. Anything you can imagine, I guarantee you he can figure out a way of making it. He will make one-of-a-kind grips tailored to you and your specifications. He has some of the best customer service in the industry. I'm going to put a link in the description below as well as a pinned comment. I'm also going to put a 10% off discount code for your first order. Go over there, check out his website, see what he has to offer. If you don't find what you're looking for, please make sure to contact Mark. Thank him for supporting the Texas Gun Vault, because I couldn't do this without his support. And of course, please think about supporting him. So when you do contact him, all I ask is you tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. Alright, so let's talk about this cool and historic rifle. Well, really a carbine. The Simonova carbine, the SKS. Now, I know many of you already know the history of the SKS, but there might be a few of you that don't. So let's just give a brief overview. This is a rifle that was adopted by the Russian Red Army in the mid to late World War II era, essentially designed to replace the aging Mosin Nagant. Now, the Mosin Nagant was a full-length, full-powered rifle that was designed in the 19th century for older types of warfare where you're engaging your enemy at 500 or 600 yards. Well, World War II was fought very differently. And I think the Russians came up with this gun because they were fighting the Germans on the Eastern Front, going up against firearms like the STG-44, otherwise known as the Sturmgewehr. Yeah, the OG of modern assault rifles. And they saw how effective a shorter rifle chambered in an intermediate cartridge could be in urban combat, where you're not fighting enemies at 500 or 600 yards, but instead at 100, 200 yards, or even closer in. So you just didn't need something so big and so powerful. So I think the Russians took a cue from the STG-44 and maybe even the American M1 carbine and came up with a gun like this. Something a lot shorter, a lot lighter, and chambered in their own intermediate cartridge, the 7.62 by 39. And I know everyone thinks the 7.62 by 39 is the AK-47 round. Well, it was around before the AK-47. It was designed for the SKS. So really it's the SKS round. So that's a little bit of the service history of this. Of course, the AK-47 came out just after World War II, and I think borrowed a lot of inspiration from this particular gun. If you look at the way that the trunnion is, all of the different latches, kind of the design of the gas system, you kind of go, yeah, it kind of looks like what the AK-47 was or was derived from. You can see a lot of inspiration there. Now, of course, when the AK came into service, that was their primary rifle. However, the SKS remained in production and was used by support troops behind the main lines. It was kind of used like the M1 carbine was in U.S. service. So it was around for pretty much the entirety of the Cold War, and it has a stellar reputation, and these things were imported into the US from countries like China, Romania, Yugoslavia, and of course Russia. And in the 1990s, these were really affordable rifles. You could probably pick these up for $30 or $40. Well, that's not the case anymore. The golden age of military surplus is over. But these just had a stellar reputation of being reliable, well-built, and very versatile. And even in the modern world, you can use it for hunting, you can use it for just plinking at the range. It's really adapted for self-defense if you wanted to use it for a home defense rifle. It's just a all-around pretty awesome, well-built, respected rifle. So that's what the SK is in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and talk about the things that I like and don't like. Now, when it comes to this particular example, there's something that I absolutely love about it, and that is this one is Russian. Yeah, you can buy SKSs today from China and all these other COM-block countries, but for me, if I'm gonna buy a Russian-built or Russian-influenced weapon, I really want it made in Russia. I want my AKs from Russia. I want my Tokarevs from Russia. I want my Makarovs from Russia. I also want my SKSs from Russia. Now, that doesn't mean those other countries didn't make nice ones or good ones. It's just that's where this gun was designed. And if I was going to own one, I would want one from Russia. And Ken has let me borrow this one, made in Russia. And I think that is simply super, super cool. I really like the size of this rifle. As I mentioned before, it kind of has the same philosophy of use as the M1 carbine. Gone are the days of needing a 25, 26-inch barrel on a full-powered rifle cartridge. No, we don't need that anymore. Just give us a short, compact rifle and an intermediate cartridge. This thing is just the right size for modern warfare and a post-World War II era. It just fits in your hands well, it's well balanced, it's just the right size. I also like the fact that the manual of arms is so easy on this. I can see why the Russians adopted this. Their whole military philosophy was very different than the American philosophy because they were going to conscript soldiers that were essentially farmers or the uneducated peasants, and they needed a rifle that they could put in the commoner's hands that was easy to use. And this rifle is super easy to use. You got your charging handle, you have a simple lever, which is your safety, you have a 10-round internal box magazine. It's just an easy gun to use. Teach someone how to use. It's just very ergonomic with this traditional rifle stock. I think that most people, even if they are unexperienced shooting firearms, could pick this gun up and learn how to use it pretty quick and pretty easy. And as I said, that's why I think the Russians like this design so much. The other thing historically I really like about this is the underfolding bayonet. It is my understanding that not every version of the SKS had this, but that is a really cool option. You also have the cleaning rod in there. So I'm really glad that this one is kind of unmolested. I know that there were some people that would sporterize these or change out the stocks or make it where they could accept a box magazine which was detachable. I like the fact that this one has survived in its original configuration. So the history of this gun just really, really fascinates me, and I like it a lot. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things about this gun that I don't like. And just handling it here on the table, there's actually one thing that I don't like, but I don't blame it because it's an artifact of the day, and that is these sights. The sights are not very good, especially this little notch in the back. I actually feel like I'm going to have some trouble at the range with this, but this is also indicative of older firearms. firearms go back to original 1911s and 1911 A1s. Those little blade sights are so small, you have to have great vision. And believe it or not, I have perfect 20/20 vision. But maybe I'm just spoiled by modern iron sights and red dot optics. So I think people that might not have perfect vision would have a hard time using this, because you're not going to put on any type of red dot optic or scope on this thing. Now, from a modern standpoint, the one thing that I think if you wanted to take this and upgrade it with, you do need a detachable box magazine. I totally get that. But as I said, I would not change anything out on this rifle. However, if you do buy one that's been sporterized, and I'm going to put that in air quotes, sporterized, I guess going with one with a detachable box magazine would be okay. The other thing too that I find is a little bit weird is the safety. I did talk about how neat it is and how natural it is to use and understand. However, this lever I find, especially because I'm right-handed, when I put my finger into the trigger guard, it kind of rubs on my finger a little bit where this latch is. It's very intuitive, it's just not designed the best. But that's it. But all those things are just qualitative things, but I wouldn't change anything about it because of its historical significance. So my real only gripe about this is the sights. They could have done a little bit better on it, but man, is this thing awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing to the range. Now, this is going to be my first time ever shooting in SKS, so I'm really excited. So I'm just going to set the target out at about 10 yards, load this thing up with 10 rounds because it's all it can take. I'm just curious how this thing is going to shoot, if I'm going to have any issues with it. What's the recoil of this thing going to be? It's pretty heavy, and 7.62 by 39 is not that powerful of a cartridge, so it might be a pretty pleasant gun to shoot, and I'm curious how these sights are going to work. So let's go to the range and let's have some fun. And all I can really say after shooting it is that I'm really surprised. It's like a modern rifle. It's extremely light recoiling. It's very ergonomic. It fits my body great. The trigger, for being over 60 years old, is really good. It has a tactile and audible reset, has a pretty good wall. My only complaint would be it has a little bit of a creep and the reset is a little bit long, but overall, I'm actually really impressed with it. Now that I'm looking through these sights, yeah, this rear notch is really small, and I'm having a hard time getting that front post to be as far down into that notch as I can see, and also it's a little bit canted. So this front sight has probably the same problem you have on many AKs. Right now it's canted a little bit to the left, so I might have to adjust for that. But besides that, the rifle is awesome. It shoots and functions great. I'm not really surprised, or I shouldn't be surprised, because this gun's reputation. All right, so now let's set the target out at twice the distance, about 20 yards. Let's do it again. Let's see what happens to this group if it opens up. And I know this rifle is designed to be shot at much further distances, but remember, when I go to the range, I don't always have access to the 100-yard range. And this gun wasn't designed to be shot at 200 or 300 yards anyway. It was designed for more close-up combat. So that's how we're going to test it today. So let's shoot it again now that I know what to expect at 20 yards and see what happens to this group. So I was obviously going for the head on this IDPA target, and my group was a little bit high and a little bit to the left, but I think that's really the sights of this thing. This post, as I mentioned, is a little bit canted and probably could be adjusted for elevation. But otherwise, the gun is continuing to function like I would expect. It's really a lot of fun to shoot, and maybe a more modern version of this, if anybody ever designed one with the ability to take an optic, would be a really, really cool rifle. And I have to say, for a traditional rifle stock, coming from a guy that likes modern pistol grip rifles, this thing is really awesome, very ergonomic. It's just a lot of fun. I have absolutely nothing negative to say about the way it's functioning and shooting. Just a lot of fun, and only makes me want one of these rifles even more. All right, so the next test I'm going to do is the bench rest. I will max out as far as I can on this target, and hopefully if I'm gonna bench rest this thing and shoot it on my range bags, I'll get a pretty good group. But these sights are really hard for me to see. I don't know why, just maybe this particular notch is just smaller than usual, but it's really, really tiny. But let's just see how I do and see if I continue to have no problems with this gun. And once again, the group was high and to the left. It was an okay group. The gun is functioning great. Still, once again, absolutely no problems. My only complaint is just the sights. And maybe there's something I can do by changing the sight in the back or doing something with the post in the front. Or if I had a sight adjustment tool, which it kind of looks like it'd be the same as an AK-47, it might be, who knows. But if I could adjust that, I could probably dial this thing in pretty well. It seems to be running pretty accurate. I'm using both steel and brass cased ammunition. Once again, no feeding issues, no malfunctions. It's just a great rifle, so no problems whatsoever. Now, one more test I want to do before I give you guys my final thoughts is see how fast I can shoot this. I know this was never designed as a select fire rifle, but who knows, you might be in some type of urban combat situation and you wanted to shoot this thing really fast. This trigger is not the best. As I said, it has a very long reset, so I'm kind of curious how fast I can shoot it. I don't think I'll be able to shoot as fast as I can a modern AR-15 or AK-47, but you never know. This gun was going up against select fire weapons, so probably Russian soldiers did have to shoot this fast. So I'm just curious how I would fare. So let's shoot this thing as fast as I can, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts. And that was definitely slower than I can shoot other firearms. As I said, that trigger reset's kind of long. It's not the greatest trigger in the world, but it's very functional for a military semi-automatic trigger. And after shooting this for a while, I can tell you I can see the versatility in this gun. It can be a CQB rifle. It was probably great for the day. Yes, the AK-47 is definitely a superior rifle for combat than this rifle was. But I think that if the Russians would have come out with this 10 years before they did, it might have been a game changer for them in World War II, and certain battles might have turned out differently. But this thing is awesome. Not only could it be a battle rifle, it's probably great for hunting, it's great for range use, it's just a very versatile gun. It's kind of like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And I know there's other guns that are like that are absolutely beloved. And I understand why the SKS has the reputation it does. And I kind of want one now. I really do, obviously for the historical significance, and I really hope I could find one with as nice a furniture as this one. This one does have all of the markings on it from the armory, and you can see how nice that wood is. I've seen others that are pretty ragged out, but Ken has managed to score a really nice one. There's really no rust on the rifle at all. It has been well taken care of. Man, this is just a cool, versatile rifle with a lot of history. I have really fallen in love with it. It shoots great, has no malfunctions that I experienced, seems to run every type of ammunition that I put through it. It's light recoiling, it's easy to use, so it'd be easy to teach people how to shoot this. Man, I have really nothing negative to say about it except the sights. So my final thoughts are, this is just simply an awesome rifle, and if you can pick up one, I would definitely recommend it. So on my star system, how would I rate the Russian-made SKS Simonova Carbine? Well, the only issue and complaint I have is the sights. Besides that, it has exceeded my expectations and is definitely one of the coolest World War II guns I've ever shot. And because of that, I'm going to give it 4.75 stars out of 5. Almost a perfect review. If these sights were just better, and I could be a little bit more accurate with it because of that, 5 out of 5 stars. But otherwise, I have nothing negative to say about this thing. It is just one awesome gun. So thank you so much, Ken, for giving me the opportunity to shoot this historically interesting rifle that is mechanically superior to many other things that were made in the day. So, wow. Just what a lot of fun, what a great rifle, and it's awesome to get to shoot a piece of history. I really feel like I'm connected to the makers and the time period that this thing came from. And that's what gun collecting is all about. It tells the story of human civilization, and this gun definitely has a part in that. So what do you guys think? Do you guys own an SKS? Do you want an SKS? Or are you like, those are just cheap old surplus rifles. I'm not interested at all. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. So, as always, thanks for watching.